Hello beautiful people, this is Dawn, your tarot teacher here. Join me now as we continue our learning journey with the card of the Devil. The Devil marks the beginning of the final 7 archetypes of the hero's journey. This is the home stretch of the soul's alchemical refinement. These final cards guide us through the stages that purify and distill our essence, preparing us for true spiritual attainment. As unsettling as this archetype appears, the Devil is not a punishment but a mirror. He reflects the ways we enslave ourselves to illusion, attachments and fear. The poet Samuel Butler once observed, "As bad as he is, the devil may be abused, falsely charged and causelessly accused, when men unwilling to be blamed alone, shift off on him those crimes which are their own." The devil does not force bondage upon us, he reveals the voluntary chains we wear. In Jungian terms, the shadow represents the aspects of ourselves that we reject, deny or hide. Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This card exposes the very places where we are asleep to ourselves, the habits, addictions, fears and dependencies that keep us bound to the material plane. The devil shows us how we self-sabotage, not as an act of cruelty, but as an invitation to reclaim our freedom. The devil is the archetype of temptation and downfall. He rules the lower densities, the plane of material reality. Hard lessons shake us to the core, yet they come not to destroy us but to redirect us. The devil reminds us to resist victimhood, own our shadow, and reclaim our light. This card represents the 5th stage of alchemy, which is fermentation. Here, the old identity begins to decay, releasing toxins and illusions so that something new and vital may emerge. It is often accompanied by the dark night of the soul, a confrontation with one's own inner demons. Were temperance harmonized and purified, the devil tests that balance by tempting us back into egoic desire. After all, devil is lived spelled backwards, and to live with the devil on your back is to merely exist without presence. The name devil derives from the Greek diablos, meaning the adversary. This adversary is not a literal being, but the fragmented shadow self, the parts of us born from fear, self-loathing and denial. He is a projection from ourselves. This card is number 15 in the Major Arcana, which represents the balance of the material and spiritual. When we break down the number, we get number 1, which is the number of the magician, self-consciousness and creative will. And we have the number 5, which is the number of the Hierophant, which is intuition and spiritual education. Together they show the tension between individual will and higher wisdom. When we add 1 plus 5, we reach 6, which is the number of the lovers. The devil, therefore, is the outer expression of the lovers' inner dynamic. In the lovers, choice is aligned with source. In the devil, choice is lost to illusion and indulgence. The lovers have become chained to matter, a fall from conscious union to unconscious enslavement. In Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, the devil corresponds to the 26th path, linking Tiferet, the sphere of divine beauty and solar consciousness, with Hod, the sphere of intellect, logic and communication. The sacred Hebrew letter for this card is Ayin, meaning eye or perception. Ayin also carries a deeper mystical meaning of nothingness, the illusory veil that obscures our true sight when we identify too strongly with the material world. On this path, the radiant awareness of Tiferet can become trapped within the analytical mind of Hod, blinding us to the inner light that animates all form. This is the lesson of the devil, the eye that deceives, mistaking shadow for reality, surface for substance. Yet when consciousness is balanced and integrated, Ayin becomes the eye of true vision, the awakened perception that pierces illusion and recognizes the divine essence within matter. Through this path we learn that what appears as bondage is only a test of perception, and liberation arises not from denial of the world, but from seeing through it. Now let's take a closer look at the imagery of this card. The traditional imagery of the devil is filled with hidden teachings. The devil sits upon a black half cube, symbolizing half knowledge. The cube as a whole represents understanding of our matrix reality, but the half cube signifies ignorance, the belief that the material world is all that there is. Before him stand a man and a woman, chained loosely to that cube. Their horns and tails show that they have become beast-like, ruled by instinct rather than higher awareness. Their bondage is voluntary, the chains hang loose, and yet they do not leave. This reveals that enslavement to illusion is a choice. The devil's bat wings represent the powers of darkness, not evil, but unconsciousness. And it's the same with the colour of the card, the dark imagery. This again is about unconsciousness and ignorance. His goat's face and horns link him to Capricorn, and this is a symbol of the climb through material mastery. His eagle's claws link to Scorpio, ruler of sexuality and transformation, showing how life force energy can be debased when misused or repressed. In his right hand, the devil raises a false benediction. This is a parody of the Hierophant's sacred gesture. It mocks the divine mystery, suggesting that only the senses are real. His left hand holds a torch burning downward, a phallic symbol of wasted life force, of energy poured into excess, addiction, or obsession. The inverted pentagram above him reverses the natural order of spirit over matter. The human form, normally ascending, is now overturned, symbolising enslavement to the ego and disregard for spiritual law. Even the devil's navel carries meaning. It signifies that he is a creation of the human mind, not a fallen angel. This detail is key as it shows us that the devil in the tower is not the biblical Lucifer or a supernatural being cast out of heaven, but rather a projection of our own unowned shadow aspects. Through this imagery, the card emphasises that the source of bondage and temptation lies within the psyche, not in an external force of evil. The man's tail of light represents the destructive consequences of uncontrolled desire and material obsession. It serves as a warning that indulgence in base instincts can lead to spiritual bondage, but also hints at the potential for purification and transformation through awareness. The tail is a primitive part of the body, often associated with animal instincts. Fire here implies that the man is not in control of his instincts, and they are literally burning him, suggesting a need to reclaim spiritual sovereignty. The woman's tail is a fruit, symbolising temptation and sensual pleasure. The man's flaming tail contrasts this, showing how pleasure can turn to pain when it becomes obsession or addiction. A powerful parallel exists between the devil and the lover's card. In the devil card, the figures that once appeared in the lovers have become beast-like, illustrating a distortion of their original harmonious state. While the lovers symbolises choice, discernment and alignment with source, the devil reveals what happens when the conscious and unconscious parts of us are not united in wise decision-making. Here our passions become misdirected, ensnared by illusions and material addictions. This card also reflects our tendency to deflect responsibility, blaming the adversary or external circumstances rather than acknowledging and owning our own role in our bondage. The devil is thus a card of ignorance, limitation, and that which remains hidden. The lesson offered by the devil is that the temptation of the ego are always a matter of choice. When we become entrenched in the illusions of the matrix, we self-sabotage and remain chained by our own volition. However, these chains are not fixed. We have the power to cast them off. The card reminds us that while material life can be enjoyed, it is not our sole purpose, nor can it bring lasting wholeness. A central challenge presented by the devil is the need to own and integrate our shadow side, an essential phase in the journey of the fool. This integration requires us to centre ourselves upon the middle pillar of the tree of life, a path that reconciles all polarities into unity. Once we achieve this balance, the devil's hold over us dissolves, transforming what was once an adversary into a force that can benefit us. Through this process, we experience a profound sense of renewal, overcoming limitations and liberating ourselves. Ultimately, encountering the devil marks the first stage of spiritual enfoldment, where the confrontation and acceptance of our shadow becomes the gateway to freedom and growth. The esoteric title of this card is The Lord of the Gates of Matter, and the child of the forces of time. This reflects its role in representing boundaries, structure, and the material world. It signifies mastery over physical challenges and the importance of overcoming obstacles for spiritual growth. The title also emphasizes cycles, maturity, and facing trials with responsibility, highlighting discipline and self-mastery as crucial for spiritual freedom. Now let's take a look at the elemental, astrological, and planetary correspondences of this card. The Devil's correspondence is with Capricorn and Saturn, which anchors him in the realm of structure, limitation, and mastery through discipline. Capricorn rules the 10th house of career, ambition, and public image. The worldly climb to power. When consciousness is mature, this energy builds empires through integrity and responsibility. When immature, it becomes domination, greed, and control. The element here is of active earth, which grounds this archetype, reminding us that matter itself is neutral. It is our relationship with it, our attachments and aversions, that determine whether it enslaves or liberates us. The strengths of this card are heightened perception, raw vitality, fearlessness, honesty, and deep introspection. The shadow is deception, control, obsession, manipulation, inflated ego, addiction, and misuse of power. The Devil's power is archetypal and potent, but only dangerous when we deny it. Once acknowledged, it becomes the fire that forges integrity and spiritual sovereignty. The Devil is not here to destroy us, but to initiate us. This stage of the Fool's journey demands that we confront our shadow and integrate it consciously. We must move to the middle pillar of the tree of life, the path that unites opposites, where neither light nor shadow dominates. Once we integrate what we have feared or despised, the Devil transforms from adversary to ally. He teaches mastery over desire, integrity within power, and the reclaiming of our true will. When we are no longer enslaved by illusion, we experience renewal. This is the first stage of spiritual unfoldment, the realization that the material plane is not a trap, but a training ground. You could reflect and ask yourself, where do I feel chained? And am I holding the key myself? What habits or attachments or fears drain my life force energy? How can I use my material desires as teachers rather than tyrants? Am I projecting my inner adversary onto others rather than owning it? The Devil teaches that temptation is a choice and freedom is self-created. We are not meant to reject the material world, but to live within it without bondage. When the shadow is integrated, the same energy that enslaved us becomes the fuel of enlightenment. And so, having faced the Devil and wrestled with the shadows lurking within, the Fool emerges, not broken, but transformed. The encounter has stripped away illusions and revealed hidden strengths, teaching the Fool that mastery is earned through honest confrontation with desire and fear. And now the Fool steps forward once more, no longer a prisoner to the chains he once believed unbreakable, but carrying the key of self-realization and integrated will. The path beckons onwards, and the Fool feels the stirring winds of change as he approaches the looming tower, which promises upheaval from within and without, a dramatic dismantling of old structures and beliefs. Join me next as we continue our learning journey and step into the card of the Tower.